Somebody, who's the Doan?
Me.
So I thought I'd do a little preview before we go on. Well, first of all, I think given that there's people on screen, it looks like people are getting that there's now one link that you can use to get in. And I think we're starting to begin to explore the website that Shelley has put together for us and how we can stay together as a Sangha through that. The next all-day sitting is March 24th. We'll send out information about that very, very soon. And maybe this will just confuse people, but maybe not, we'll see. So we're spending the last week, this week, and next week talking about the 4 Brahma Viharas. Sometimes they're called the 4 divine abodes that are Theravadan, the kind of root heart of Theravadan teachings, which are, we did some of this last week, and I'm going to do it some more today. Love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Already something wonderful has happened. I'm sure more than one thing. That Sun's on it. That's the name you're using, right? Yeah. Had the you want to tell your story?
Oh, well.
I think it's a great story.
Yesterday, I made the mistake.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Yesterday,
a little louder.
Yesterday, I don't know if it was a mistake, but I thought it was my civic duty to read the news. And I found myself filled with intense hatred and fear, I'm sure, underlying that. And I was really distraught more about the intensity of my feeling. That was really bothering me. Okay, what am I going to do with this? Because most days I feel that in some point in the day when I think about sort of the big systems of the world and the United States and what's going on. So I thought, okay, well, what can I do about this? What can I do about this in a fundamental way? And I thought about the 4 abodes. And I thought, okay, well, I'm feeling all this hatred. So what's the far enemy of hatred and anger? And the far enemy was love.
Aha!
So I thought, okay, I can do something here. And really to kind of help myself and send something out into the world besides the vibes of hate that I was trying to conceal, from people. And so the project I thought of I kind of think of it as called meta.gov, like meta.gov. And I want to find other willing people to write postcards to every single congressperson, every single senator, the Supreme Court justices, and the president, simply with a meta offering written on every single one. Just everyone, may you be happy, may you be safe, maybe a 4-line kind of meta gata, and send them. And I felt some great relief. It's useless, like Zazen, and it's an antidote to my feelings. So I started yesterday figuring out logistically how to do this, and so you might see it in the newsletter because I'll need some help writing 555 postcards, and I'll figure out, how to do this and where to gather, or we could do it independently, but I thought it would be nice to do it over time with a group. Maybe, so anyway, that's the beginning of the idea. Meta.gov.
So you never know what's going to happen when you're sitting around doing nothing and noticing that there's hatred in your heart. And it's interesting that you said that love is the far enemy of hatred, which I mean, I suppose that's one way to say it, but the way it's usually taught is that there's a far enemy and a near enemy of each of the four Brahma Viharas, and that hatred would be the far enemy of love. But whatever gets you there.
Yeah, I had to turn it around because I wasn't feeling the love.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, what's on the other end of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, and you of course don't have to do this, or you can just. I mean, each one of you is like I more and more find myself these days thinking, so what's this got to do with anything? I mean, this is all nice, Dogen and Buddha and all this stuff, but it's like, what's it look like in the day to day? What's it look like in these in every single day, no matter what's happening, no matter what that's called continuous practice. And again, those are all words. So it doesn't have to be big, but I'm just so we'll jump in from there, and I'll do a little review. So the first Brahma Vihara, or divine abode, or immeasurable, is Metta, but Ayakema, who's a Theravadan nun, no longer alive, but a pretty amazing human being. Her books are available. What she says is she names it Maitri, which is it can be translated as love or loving kindness, and Maitri, she says she prefers as the intention or capacity to offer joy and happiness, i.e. metta.gov or maitri.gov or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's good.
She says Maitri has the roots in the word mitra, which means friend, and in Buddhism the primary meaning of love is friendship. And in fact, the Buddha of the future is Maitreya, a Buddha, the Buddha of love. So that's what we're bringing into manifestation. That's the era that we're living in. The era of Maitreya Buddha, the Buddha of friendship. And I would suspect it probably doesn't mean friendship with just the people you like. And sweetie, practice and zazen and each other. And yes, okay. She says we have to practice looking and listening deeply so that we know what to do and what not to do to make others happy. Without understanding, your love is not true love. It's conditioned love, which I'll love you if you're in the right political party, or you're this, or you're that. Which is not to say don't do something. I mean, this is not... Of course, I'm also going to write postcards about the election, but this is not an either-or proposition. It's what's the quality of your heart is always the most important thing here. So the far enemy is hatred, the near enemy is clinging, which is possessiveness, which might be, again, I'll love you if I get what I want out of it. And I did some of this, I guess it was last week, but I like it, I'll do it again. We have to be on the lookout to recognize the negativity within us. We're always searching for the causes outside ourselves. But they're not there. They always lie, she says, in our gut and darken our heart. So the point is, recognize, don't blame, change. We must keep replacing the negative with the positive. what does that mean? That's not just you're plastering something positive on top of something negative. We're talking about transformation at the base here. The second, I'm going to go through these first two again quickly because I'm reviewing. The second aspect of true love is karuna, which is compassion. To develop compassion in ourselves, we need to practice mindful breathing, deep listening, and deep looking. Compassion contains deep concern. It's like, how are you? How are you? Or, how are you? How are you doing in there? Or the earthworms. Notice all the, when I was a kid, I was always so worried when it rained and the earthworms would all come up, and I was so afraid people were going to step on them. It's like, hey, little earthworm, how are you? You know, it's like look around and see what you can. I mean, I don't know if it's helping an earthworm to help it get off the sidewalk to the other side, or what. Maybe I'm just interrupting its journey. Who knows what I'm doing? But lots of ways to just look and listen and ask, what can I do to help? Ayakema says, when I was a novice nun, I could not understand why if the world is filled with suffering, the Buddha had such a beautiful smile. Do you ever wonder that? Has it ever occurred to you to ask? Hey, so Buddha, what's going on here? We need to be aware of the suffering to retain our clarity, calmness, and strength so we can help transform the situation. The ocean of tears cannot drown us if karuna, compassion, is here. That is why the Buddha's smile is possible. And why I'll remind us, and maybe we'll just try it right now again, because me being me, I used to, when Thich Nhat Hanh would say, smile, I'd think, yeah, right, sorry. But you know what? Have you ever tried it? Oh, well, aren't you all something? It's actually, it's like, just do it again, just to affirm it, is like, let your face just sort of go slack or a little negative, and then it's not a big smile, it's just let the corners of your mouth just turn up just a little bit, and stay close, see what it feels like. It makes absolutely no sense. But something happens. So there you go. Buddha, Thich Nhat Hanh, all of you. The far enemy is cruelty, the near enemy is pity. Those poor, pitiful people voting for you know who. Suffering strikes everyone. Whatever anyone is enacting in the world, without exception. There's just no way anybody's getting a free ride here. We all just are acting out of our karma. You know, trying to figure it out, trying to make things a little happier, easier. Even the so-called badness of others can't bother us because it only arises out of ignorance and suffering. We just know that. Not from a place of pity, but just watch your own mind. Watch how many times you think you want to do something different, or you think you're so smart. And a little something that maybe you hadn't noticed comes along and changes your whole view of the world. It's just, maybe you get a postcard that says, may you be happy. Who knows? Who knows? Life is mysterious. All the evil in this world is based on two things, ignorance and suffering. We're practicing to wake up. Okay, the third. Do the third mudita, joy, and the fourth equanimity in a little more detail. Kema says, true love always brings joy to ourselves and to the one we love. If our love does not bring joy to both of us, it is not true love. I more and more notice that. Again, it's just some idea to be loving. If, I mean, compassion, I get grumpy, whatever, but am I actually bringing joy to myself and other people? And do I have, and what needs a little, usually just a little tweak in my attitude? Commentators explain that happiness relates to both body and mind, whereas joy relates primarily to the mind. Isn't that interesting? This example is often given. Someone traveling in the desert sees a stream of cool water and experiences joy. On drinking the water, they experience happiness. Ditatama sukhavari means dwelling happily in the present moment. We don't rush to the future. We know that everything is here in the present moment. Everything we need is here. This sounds so much like Thich Nhat Hanh. We just have to open our eyes and we can see the blue sky or the clouds. The violet flowers, the children, the trees, and so many other kinds of forms and colors. Dwelling in mindfulness, we can touch these wondrous and refreshing things, and our mind of joy arises naturally. Joy contains happiness, and happiness contains joy. This one is tradition, or I had always been taught sympathetic joy. It's like, and I think it's very useful to notice when, because the far enemy of joy is envy. Is like when you can't be happy for somebody else. It's really it's a helpful thing to notice of what comes up when you see somebody else is happy because they got something they wanted, or what I mean for what, and then is happiness arising? Is it shared joy and happiness, or can you watch envy and competition arise? Just study it. You might notice it. Sorry. The near enemy is hypocrisy, pretending to oneself and others, which we believe is sometimes necessary. It's like what is. I was at a talk last night here, but up in Bellingham, where they're studying the Genjo Koan. They're talking about authentic self. Is what is authentic self, and what is it when we're putting something on top of something, and what is kind of the karmic overlay of all that? But then what do you do? I mean, this is practice. What do you do if what you really want to do is just say something angry or all the stuff? It's that moment that you notice and you practice. That's the commitment, to take a breath. And what do you need to do? Take 3 breaths. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe you need to leave. Maybe who knows? But the 3 pure precepts, the first one is sometimes translated as to do no harm. Now, what is that? Is there ongoing koans and questions? Mudita is a joy that is filled with peace and contentment. Joy is for everyone, self and other. So it really is working with state of mind. You don't have to plaster happiness on top of it. I'm not happy about a lot of what I see in the news. But what's the practice of being able to be in the midst of it with and for all beings, and from that place to be able to do something? Because if I'm doing it out of reactivity, it's not helping anybody. Our problem won't let up as long as we try to support and secure the me. Only when we begin to put the universal over the individual and to see our purification as more important than the wish to have and get will we find peace in the world. Her language is purification. I would just, my language, or Zen's language, might be more just awakening, waking up for the sake of everybody. Ongoing practice. Okay, the fourth. Upeksha, which means equanimity, non-attachment, non-discrimination, even-mindedness, or letting go. U-P-E, means over, and kush, K-S-H, means to look. You climb the mountain to be able to look over the whole situation, not bound by one side or the other. If your love has attachment, discrimination, prejudice, or clinging to it, it's not true love. People who do not understand Buddhism sometimes think upeksha means indifference, but true equanimity is neither cold nor indifferent. And I think there's a big confusion there often. Some kind of, can look a lot in Zen like Zen cool. I mean, cool, like pull back. That's not what we're talking about here. Upeksha has the mark called samattajnana, the wisdom of equality. The ability to see everyone as equal, not discriminating between ourselves and others. In a conflict, even though we are deeply concerned, we remain impartial. Got to think about that one. Or I might say, notice your state of mind and your body and keep coming back. Ground yourself. Keep coming back. Then there's the ability to love and understand both sides. We shed discrimination and prejudice and remove all boundaries between ourselves and others. As long as we value ourselves more than others or see others as different from us, we do not have true equanimity. We have to continue over and over to put ourselves in the other's skin and become one with that person if we want to understand and truly love them. What then happens is there's no self and no other. The enemy of equanimity is excitement. Excitement. I got it. Or, whoa, it's pretty good over here. I mean, however you want to, I think it's a really interesting thing. It's not saying don't have joy. What's the difference between joy and excitement? The implication being that excitement has some self-centered quality in it. Study it. And the near enemy is indifference. She says, if we have developed love in our hearts, which is an ongoing project, so to speak, we can accept men and women with all their problems and peculiarities. Ongoing practice. She does acknowledge we all have problems and peculiarities. Just notice it. I got them, you got them. It's what makes us human beings. And what are we going to do next? Then we'll have built up a world where happiness, harmony, and peace are in control This world can't be thought up, it must be felt. Only meditation can present us with the possibility of this world. It's absolutely necessary, she says, Dogen says, to give up thinking. This heals us and gives us the capacity to turn more towards our hearts. So I have been really noticing Dogen's phrase about think not thinking. Just notice when your little mind just starts going. And it's got lots of stories. Stories are great. But notice Bruce and I visited Biak once, which is in Papua New Guinea, and the statues all have really big noses. And we said, what are the big noses about? I mean, I hope I was a little more tactful than that. And they said, it's about smelling your words. Smell our thoughts. I mean, it's so visceral. It's so kind of westernized. It's like, smell your words. How you doing? Okay, so I thought maybe what we could do before we did service is, because bringing it into Zen tradition, Katagiri Roshi's Peaceful Life came up. Some of you may know and some of you may not know, but you're going to know it in a minute. And Gretchen's going to put it up on the screen. And I'll chant it, and you all can listen along or read along. This was, apparently they found this after Katagiri Roshi had died. So it was published after his death. Just stay with it, feel it, see what comes up, and then you're going to have a chance to, any lines that come forward for you. Peaceful Life by Katagiri Roshi. Being told that it is impossible, one believes in despair. Is that so? Being told that it is possible, one believes in excitement. That's right. But whichever is chosen, it does not fit one's heart neatly. Being asked what is unfitting, I don't know what it is, but my heart knows somehow. I feel an irresistible desire to know. What a mystery human is. As to this mystery, clarifying, knowing how to live, knowing how to walk with people, demonstrating and teaching, this is the Buddha. From my human eyes, I feel it's really impossible to become a Buddha. But this I, regarding what the Buddha does, vows to practice, to aspire, to be resolute, and tells myself, yes, I will. Just practice right here now and achieve continuity endlessly forever. This is living in vow. Herein is one's peaceful life found. Let's do it again. Being told that it is impossible, one believes in despair. Is that so? Being told that it is possible, one believes in excitement. There it is. That's right. But whichever is chosen, it does not fit one's heart neatly. Being asked what is unfitting, I don't know what it is, but my heart knows somehow. I feel an irresistible desire to know. What a mystery human is. As to this mystery, clarifying, knowing how to live, knowing how to walk with people, demonstrating and teaching, this is the Buddha. From my human eyes, I feel it's really impossible to become a Buddha. But this I, regarding what the Buddha does, vows to practice, to aspire, to be resolute, and tells myself, yes, I will. Just practice right here and now and achieve continuity endlessly, forever. This is living in vow. Herein is one's peaceful life found. Just practice right here and now. Achieve continuity endlessly and forever. This is living in vow. Herein is one's peaceful life found. So to me, that's love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Just the vow to live, the commitment to this is what my life is based on. That includes, of course, and acknowledges what a mystery being human is. So let's take a little bit of time, and then when we come back, we'll do a service and we'll chant the Metta Sutta, which is again the words of the Buddha about compassion and joy but how do you practice right here and now? What is it to achieve continuity endlessly forever? Or whatever in this category Roshi's living by vow. What's it call up for you? Okay? So you're going to have not so long.